Hello and welcome to my last installment of my Let's Play Castlevania Harmony of Despair hard mode multiplayer run through. Now that is still a hard sentence to say after saying it so many times, but thankfully we're at the last stage until they unleash some DLC, of course. Now it took me and the guys a fair lot of time put into this game to be able to defeat Dracula. Some may call us not the best players, at least the way I was playing earlier on in the playthrough wasn't exactly diamond or stellar or however you want to describe it. But we got there in the end after a few farming runs to look for more gear on this level. Now, this level is one of the biggest ones, but thankfully it's not boring at all. There's a lot of enemies and a lot of annoying or tricky parts to get through. Let me introduce you to, of course, one of Castlevania's staple, most annoying parts. Any bit with Medusa Heads. Now, there's two types of Medusa Heads in the game. There's blue ones that just do damage, and there's these golden ones that petrify you. And they can constantly keep knocking you back down the towers you're trying to climb, and you just keep getting hit over and over if you're unfortunate by where you land or the place it pauses you at. And sometimes they just spawn on you and swarm you, and it's very, very irritating. Other times you can get up it nice and clear, and you really feel like you've achieved something, which is really odd to say. But they are the most annoying thing that I've experienced on the Castlevania games I've played so far. I'm sure it's no different in the other ones. Now this stage is quite large and also lengthy, so this commentary will last for a good 10 minutes or so due to these final guards that appear. He's just at the top of the screen right now. Now they only take 1 damage per hit. I've fast forwarded my meeting with them because it is a bit boring, I must say, when you fight them. Now they've got a set amount of HP and you've just got to keep chipping away and away and away at them until they finally go down. You want people with a fast weapon, or Jonathan with his whip, and just flail and just memorise the attack pattern, get under the sword and attack his legs really. But for the second final guard, as there's another one right in front of us, we find it's good to use Jonathan's using the Wrecking Ball skill. As you see, they just started activating it. You'll see it also after I fast forward this point, to just knock them out while the rest go clear. So by the time we get up there, the path will be clear for the Jonathans and the final guard will be dead up there. So there's 3 in the level though, so we got to fight another one later on. So you'll see that tackled by all 6 of us later. No, I think I shun it completely. Now I've left what I think as the best character for last in this one. Now I think of her as the best character because there's like times in World of Warcraft, let's say that game again, where there have been item combinations that have made a class positively overpowered or have been overpowering for whatever reason. Charlotte falls into this category. She has an item that completely changes the way she is and makes her an almost invincible character and almost essential to any party. So first of all, let me explain the skills. Charlotte's right bumper ability is a magic shield that she can use to absorb spells. Now these range from heals that she just used now to attacks, homing attacks, flamethrowers, all these kind of stuff. Attacks from bosses, you name it, she's got it. There's a total of 22 spells. Now these are absorbed very painstakingly. There's actually a lot of grinding involved to get them. So for example, Petrol Bomb Tom spent 4 hours just getting the heal spell maxed out on his own in single player. Now that's a bit painstaking there, so he's put a hell of a lot of time into his character. At the last estimate he said he'd put in 28 hours, which is quite crazy for the amount of time the game's been out, but he's been dedicated to his character, can't say much more. And if you're playing a game like this where you're in a party and you want to succeed, you gotta hope people are dedicated like that in an odd way. So she takes a while to max out, so the more spells you get and the higher the level of the spells, the more powerful all her spells get and her weapon gets. so her normal weapon attack. So it's a leveling up system in the same way as Jonathan and Shanoa. Now her weapon changes. She cannot equip a new weapon just like Jonathan, but it changes depending on the amount of spells you've got. First of all, it starts off as a sword that appears from a magic book. Then it changes into a sword and 2 axes that appear in a kind of tri-attack way, so they actually have a large attack radius, which is really nice. Now if you max all 22 spells out, supposedly it changes into some kind of axe in the middle and maces on either side that I've heard of, and has a little extended attack range, so it's very useful. Now why I consider her so powerful is because we came across the thought of equipping Charlotte with an Astral Ring, and what this does is it takes away the mana cost and instead takes away HP for every spell cast in accordance to the MP amount of the spell. So what Charlotte can do is, when she's got enough spells, her heals for more than the cost of the spell. So basically she becomes a spam healing machine. She cannot die and she can constantly keep healing your party. We don't use this in this playthrough, but since then we used it, and Charlotte is invaluable on harder boss fights, invaluable on a stage like this. So in my eyes, because of that, she can spam spells and just heal her HP all the way back up again. It's insanely good. She is probably the most powerful character, or has the potential to be overpowered. Now here's Connor, my man. There's a bit of background about that while we go in to face Dracula at the end. There's supposedly 6 hidden items throughout each stage. Well, there's 1 per stage, 6 stages, and there's nobody knows what happens if you collect all 6, if anything happens. But Connor, my man's one of them, and that's used by standing at the top of the clock tower there. So I've given you a bit of heads up about that. So if you find any or look at any, tell me. I think it's a stage 2 one that has still yet to be found at this point in time. So here we are, engaging Dracula. So I'm going to give you a bit of a boss strategy. First of all, he has 3 forms. The first form is easily counterable. Unfortunately, Charlotte doesn't have the ability to jump kick, which is what happens if you double chuck and then hold down, jump, hold down, and press jump again. You'll do a kick onto his head. Now the way we fight Dracula is to, well, always get behind him, as you can see. His only attackable point is his head. Now if he spawns in the corner of the room, what we will do is we will jump on his head, bounce repeatedly up and down. It does minimal damage, but you dodge all attacks by doing it. So it's a very nice way, and you can completely avoid damage, unless you're Charlotte, where you actually have to dodge the spells. So now he's turned into his second Beastial form. Now this one's a bit of a... can be a bit of a bugger, though we usually save our magic up for this one because you don't need it on the first boss, and completely and utterly nuke as much as we can to get him down to the 3rd form, as you see here. Now I'll tell you some of his attacks. The main one you've got to watch out for, apart from his laser beam, which he uses just jump up high into a corner, or his shockwave ability, is his poison jump. So he'll stop for a while, hunch down, and then he'll jump for a long distance behind him, and he'll poison anyone underneath him during that jump. So you've got to stay away or stay alert for that. So it moves on to phase 3 now. This boss has a number of attacks, starting with this flame pillar here, which chases you across the room and you just basically have to move. You want to keep your party spread out on either side. His main damaging points here are his hands, which either guard projectile attacks, apart from, of course, Shanoa's lightning, or attack you, which is very annoying. Sometimes he'll just move and just rake you, as he just did to the party there. Now he's got many instant death attacks like Dark Megadome, which he'll put fire pillars up at the side of the screen, just like now, and then he'll use this attack that just envelops the middle of the screen. Now I got really lucky there, and unfortunately the guy in the middle got really unlucky, but I'll bring him back to life. He also has a guard when he goes blue like this, and this attack here, the hearts, is a charm ability, so it will of course make one of your characters attack the other characters on your team. Now sometimes it makes your character just run into Dracula and sacrifice their life, which is an absolute FPS experience, really. So other attacks are, of course, the flames and electric that you saw earlier. Trying to think. Oh, the laser ability. You've just got to crouch, but you can't be too near the wall. You've got to be like slightly out from the wall, and so you're in between two lasers. And we've taken him down now, so that's the end of the game. That's Castlevania Harmony of Despair. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. I really thank you for whoever watched it in the end, and I hope I explained some about the game, because the game doesn't come with tutorials, so it's a good way of me giving you some analysis before you start or consider purchasing the game. So I hope you do. I hope you enjoy playing it. I hope you've enjoyed watching. As I said again, if you've seen me from elsewhere, subscribe, and I'll leave the last word to Jesus. See ya.
Achievements.